So, how often should I exercise every day? And what set of exercises would you recommend every day to someone who no longer feels shooting pain, rather a dull ache and numbness?
The symptoms don't really make any difference. The symptoms are quite irrelevant, right? And what I mean by that, and I don't mean that to dismiss the symptoms, but aside from that, your symptoms and how they change, as long as we don't have those, don't really matter in terms of they don't dictate what you're going to do from a rehab point of view. Your ability in the rehab dictates where you are in the recovery process and what you need to do. So, for example, when you start at the start, you don't start at the middle, you don't start anywhere, because that's a judgment that you don't have any evidence to make whether that's a right, to indicate whether that's a right or wrong judgment. So you start at the start. You start what we would call in phase one. And then you move through the phases, phase two, phase three. When you start in phase one, you're doing the exercises daily. You're doing the exercises we talk about in the program: dead bug, Marshall bridge, squat, hip hinge, step up. The single leg hip hinge is a new one that's been thrown in there for a specific reason. And you do those exercises every day because you're learning how to do them. And you're not very good at them. And it requires a little bit of practice. And then you progress on, and you might then build out to maybe you're working out 4 or 5 times a week, 5 or 6 times a week. And then you progress on further, and you're actually only doing 1 or 2 sessions. Some of you guys that are watching that are in the latter stage of the program, you're only doing it, quite spread out. You may be doing a harder squat session on a Monday and a harder hip hinge day on a Thursday or a Friday, and you're doing some other workouts in between, maybe for the upper body, maybe for the abs, a low load ab workout, as is in, for example, the additional workouts.